Berry, and today we are going to be watching the most gangster politician ever, Cassius Marcellus Clay. Okay, let's see what's going on. Is that how you guys feel when I start talking?
It's a riveting story. It's really good. All right, we gotta go. I gotta tell the internet about the guy I named you after, okay? You gotta go hang out with mom now.
Whoa!
Today we're talking
Wait, that's the baby's name? No shot.
about the most gangster politician in American history. Ladies and gentlemen, Cassius Marcellus Clay,
Cassius.
a.k.a. the Lion of Whitehall. Whitehall being his family home that he grew up in Kentucky as the son of one of the richest slave owners in all of America. While going to college at Yale to become a lawyer, he would attend a speech from a famous abolitionist by the name of William Lloyd Garrison. And
Dude, I miss cool glasses. Ain't nobody wearing funny little oval spectacles no more. Why'd I say it like that? Ain't nobody wearing no oval little spectacles no more.
that speech would change the entire trajectory of Cassius Clay's life as well as American history. It is at that moment that Cassius Clay decided he was not only going to be quietly opposed to slavery, but that he was actively going to fight against it.
Wow, dude! I'm gonna be honest, that's a very admirable trait. Like, there's a lot of people who just fall into the loophole of, like, repeating the cycle of their family, but then he was like, you know what, I'm gonna be different. That is super base. Like, you basically leave everything that you've ever known behind and become your own person with your own morals and your own ideas, which is awesome.
He would be set down the path to become the most influential abolitionist of all time.
Wow.
Oh God, forgot to do the ad. Hold on. Sorry for bothering the video. Real quick, this video is brought to you by the biggest sponsor of the channel and my favorite sporting goods store, Shields. They've
What? Wait, I've never seen this. I only know the Cox.
got over 30 retail locations across the United States and an even better online store that I'm gonna have linked down below, and if you use my code, you're gonna get free shipping.
Dude, is there like an advantage to having a real life store anymore? I feel like so many people just buy stuff online. I rarely go to the real store.
They've got everything you could imagine there. This is where I got this shirt. It's where I got this backpack. All of it was on sale. It was a great deal. Again, use my code down below. You're gonna get free shipping. Back to the video. Oh, wait, hold on. I forgot to mention, Muhammad Ali's original name was Cassius Clay. Yeah, he was actually named after this guy too. Anyways, back to the video.
Wait, is that real? Dude, I'm so gullible that I feel like I have to look it up. Whoa! Wait, that is him! Wait, he was born in 1942? Dude, that's insane.
Bye-bye. If you don't know, at this point in time, there's basically two different camps you could fall into for being anti-slavery. You could be an abolitionist or an emancipationist. An emancipationist is somebody that wants to vote it out over time, over the next 5, 10, 20 years, versus an abolitionist, which is somebody that believes we need to end slavery right now, and they're willing to fight about it. And in the case of Cassius Clay, he was willing to fight anyone, anywhere, anytime. You see, Cassius Clay wasn't just some nobody punk kid that went off to college and decided that he didn't like slavery. This was the son of one of the wealthiest slave owners in all of America. So for him to come out and voice anti-slavery views was a huge deal, and it pissed off a lot of people.
Dude, it would make a lot of people in like that community related to his family very angry, which is why I think it's also double badass, because he has like the whole world against him. And he has to start from the bottom because there's no way his dad's gonna help him with anything. There's no way his family's gonna want to help him out. Like, he's basically solo queue.
So, being that this was the 1820s, what do you do when you're pissed off? You challenge somebody to a duel.
Yes! Dude, be honest. If I had a duel with you right now, you would lose. Yeah, I got them reflexes.
So needless to say, the young Cassius Clay found himself partaking in an awful lot of duels, and he never, ever lost.
Okay, I would also never lose, and I'm gonna prove it right now. You and me, we're gonna duel it out in rock, paper, scissors, and you gotta be honest. Ready? Rock, paper, scissors, shoot! Okay, did I win? And don't lie. And don't lie. And don't lie.
So, obviously, he's pretty good at it, and what do you do when you find something you're pretty good at? You want to keep doing it, right? Right. So Cassius Clay starts challenging anyone and everyone to a duel that dares to oppose him. It became common knowledge in this community that Cassius Clay would be willing to fight the wind if it blew from the west and he wanted it to blow from the east. This
dude, he should teach my mid laner a lesson then. My mid laner's so scared he don't fight nobody.
Man went on a dueling rampage, so much so that by the time he graduated college, he was considered to be the deadliest duelist in all of North America. This guy was putting slave owners in the dirt like he was Johnny Appleseed planting fucking trees. He became known as the deadliest abolitionist of all time. So he graduates from college, goes back home as a lawyer. Shortly after that, his father passes away and leaves everything to Cassius Clay.
Wait, he got everything still? Dude, I'm surprised his dad left him everything, just to be for real.
Cassius Clay immediately frees all of his father's slaves, costing
Wow.
himself $40,000, which is roughly $2 million today.
Jeez.
And then he even gives some of the slaves land and money on top of it. Absolutely infuriating
wow.
the pro-slavery people in Kentucky.
Dude, that's like a huge deal, right? It must have been so hard for like recently freed slaves to get land or to like have things that were theirs. So to just like start them up with like, I guess, in crazy necessities is like huge.
Kentucky. So, what do you do when half the local population hates your guts? You run for public office, and that's exactly what Cassius Clay did. He served in the Kentucky State Legislature from 1835 to 1841, and then finally lost his re-election, to which the pro-slavery crowd breathed a huge sigh of relief because they finally defeated Cassius Clay, or so they thought. Clay immediately starts traveling the country, giving amazing anti-slavery speeches, winning over hearts and minds, and this absolutely infuriates the pro-slavery people because they don't know how to stop him. You can't legally stop a guy from talking to people that want to listen to him, and they can't legally kill Cassius Clay in a duel because he's the best duelist on earth.
Oh, dude, he's too OP. Wait, that's crazy to think about. So, like, nobody can defeat him because he's got, like, a crazy build, and he will one-shot anybody who comes up to him. And you can't really tell people to stop listening to him. So he's kind of got, like, Persuasion 100, max stats on the tank, max stats on the dex. Like, that's insane.
What do? You've got to illegally kill him. The problem with that is they can't find a hitman that's dumb enough to think that they can take out Cassius Clay. So,
dude, yeah, like, that's like a huge, I guess, target on you too. Because as much as he has crazy haters, he probably has, like, so many people who like him and are his fans.
They have to go to the one crevice of the planet where they can find somebody truly insane enough to think that they can do this job. And that man's name was Sam Brown, an assassin from New Orleans. 1834, Russell Cave, Kentucky. Cassius Clay's finishing up one of his world-famous speeches as he pulls out a burlap sack, reaches into the sack and pulls out a holy Bible and says, "For those of you that believe in the laws of God, I make to you this argument against slavery," sets the Bible on the table.
Wow.
Reaches back in the sack, pulls out a copy of the U.S. Constitution, and says, "For those of you that believe in the laws of man, I present to you this argument against slavery," sets the Constitution down on the table. Drops the burlap sack to the ground and says, "For those of you that believe in neither the laws of God or man, I make to you this argument against slavery," as he pulls out both of his pistols and sets them on the table, which I think we can all agree is gangster as fuck. And
holy dude, how come I've never heard about this guy before? He's like an insane Giga Chad, and I've never heard of him. Huh?
at this moment, Sam Brown comes up on stage and shoots Cassius Clay point blank in the chest. Luckily, Cassius Clay never leaves home without his trusted Bowie knife, which resides inside of a metal sheath. And that metal sheath would catch Sam Brown's bullet, saving Cassius Clay's life. At which
Holy aura! What the hell? He parried a gun?
point, Cassius Clay would draw his Bowie knife and charge Sam Brown.
What? 6
of Sam Brown's friends in the audience tried to stop Cassius Clay. He would fight his way through all 6 of them, making...
Holy! He's got berserk armor!
his way to Sam Brown, promptly stabbing him in the chest, and then turning him into a Mr. Potato Head by cutting off his nose, lopping off his ear, and gouging out one of his eyes. Then...
Oh my god. In front of everybody, too? Dude. Ouch!
The 6 men recovered and were able to peel Clay off of him. Not knowing what to do, knowing they couldn't stop Cassius Clay forever, they panicked, probably for fear that Cassius Clay was going to start shoving this guy's facial features up his ass next. They did the only thing they could come up with to get the two apart. They picked up their friend Sam Brown, threw him over a 7-foot-high stone wall.
What?
He fell down an embankment and into a creek bed to finally get Cassius Clay away from him. Somehow, Sam Brown survived, but not only was he lucky for that, he was also dumb as fuck because he then decided to take Cassius Clay to court because apparently
Nah. We're settling this with the law. No shot.
Apparently, after Cassius Clay stabbed him the first time, they were even on the whole assassination attempt thing.
Can you imagine getting even on an assassination attempt? I'm gonna be honest with you, I am not gonna forget that. There's no even Stevens on that shit. I'm gonna remember that forever. Sure.
So Cassius Clay should go to prison for mayhem. So
What?
Cassius Clay calls upon his older cousin, one of the best lawyers on the planet that had never lost in open court with over 40 years of experience, Henry Clay. Henry Clay goes into court and his entire defense for his cousin is, and I quote, "Your Honor, this is just standard behavior for a Kentuckian." And the judge is just like, "You're innocent. Free to go. That's it. Best court case ever." Literally walks in and just goes,
"I thought this was America. This was America. I'm sorry, I thought this was America."
So after Cassius Clay was found innocent, Henry...
Wait, so can I get away with stuff if I'm a Floridian? Like, could it just be a Florida problem if I just start, like, doing drugs all the time and running around naked? Like, Your Honor, she's from Florida. Oh, well, that makes sense.
Henry Clay decides that he's going to run for president and Cassius is going to help him campaign. Cassius is going to tour the country giving speeches saying, hey, you know, vote for my cousin. Here's the rule with that. Henry Clay told him he's only allowed to tour the northern states because he's actually legitimately concerned that if he sends Cassius to the south, he's going to shoot so many fucking slave owners in duels that it could be considered voter fraud. So Henry Clay ends up losing the presidential election and Cassius moves on to his next life adventure, which is becoming an author and writing anti-slavery news articles.
I'm gonna be honest with you, people used to have way more side quests back in the day. Like, I don't know how many people are a lawyer, politician, book writer, gamer, like, duelist, like, everybody had 9 million things they were doing.
Problem with that was none of the newspapers were willing to publish him, so he says, fuck you, I'll start my own newspaper, The True American. Now, as I'm sure you can imagine, starting an anti-slavery newspaper in fucking Kentucky in 1845 was not very popular, and his business would receive death threats pretty much every day, some of which were written in blood. So
Dude, ye old Google Docky, damn.
Cassius Clay, in true Cassius Clay fashion, says, fuck it, I guess we're gonna fight about it. He then proceeds to up-armor his entire business and his printing office. He covers the entire front of the office in a large iron sheet. He installs several cannons down corridors, stocks the entire thing with loaded guns.
Okay, so he's like Torbjorn maxing? He's probably got turrets with laser sights?
And rigs it to explode. Here's the thing, he also doesn't expect his employees to fight to the death for him, so he installs an escape hatch and instructs them to escape if anything goes down.
Dude, is that not kind of nice? Like, let's be honest. Like, he's like, I know this ain't your fight. Like, you can get out of here if you really want. Like, not a big deal. And then he made them a way to, like, vent out, which is really nice. Nowadays, your boss is gonna make you come in if you have like 500 contractable diseases and like also you died yesterday. He'd be like, can your ghost come in? Sorry about that.
Because he's gonna fight the entire mob by himself. How's he gonna do that? As soon as you walk in the only door to get into that printing office, you find yourself in a long, narrow corridor with iron on each side, just wide enough for a single man to get through. Cassius Clay is gonna stand in that narrow corridor and fight the entire mob one man at a time.
What?
Literally the mentality of, if you have a problem, take a number, I'll kill you in a minute. This man recreated the entire battle of fucking Thermopylae with 300 Spartans, except he's gonna do it all by himself. If you think fucking with John Wick's dog is a bad idea, the last thing you want to do is fuck with Cassius Clay's printing press, because this man is determined to defend the freedom of speech with the right to bear arms at any cost.
Wow.
Obviously, this escalates to Cassius Clay defeating an entire mob single-handedly.
Jeez, dude. I'm surprised people are even trying to take him out. Like, if you take him out for saying what he thinks and how he feels, like, is that not gonna make everybody who believes in what he says, like, more angry and, like, more into, like, his message? It just doesn't make any sense.
Right? Wrong. The mob, being full of, you know, super brave pro-slavery men that know they're doing the right thing, do the honorable brave thing and wait till Cassius Clay is bedridden with typhoid fever so they know he isn't going to show up. They show up to his business at night and burn the place to the ground because they're a bunch of fucking bitches. Now, Cassius Clay recovered...
Dude, I really don't ever see this many bleeps inside of subtitles and it's making me happy.
from typhoid fever, he reestablishes a newspaper in Cincinnati, Ohio, which is an anti-slavery stronghold. The only problem with that is being an anti-slavery stronghold, there's not going to be any conflict, and that's fucking boring, so Cassius Clay moves on to another life adventure, volunteering in the Mexican-American War.
What? Dude! He is literally taking every quest! You could probably tell him your AC stopped working and he'd show up with the screwdriver and fix it.
Serving the Mexican-American War, he would be a captain leading a group of Kentucky soldiers, and they would be captured pretty much immediately, and he would spend the duration of the entire war as a POW. While serving as a POW, some of the men under his command would escape, meaning that the Mexican military was then going to put the rest of his unit to death. Cassius Clay said, hey, don't kill my men, just kill me and my other fellow officers. We're the ones in charge.
Uh-oh. So then they're gonna release all of his men, and then he's gonna be in a room with the people that were gonna kill them, and he's be like, yeah, I'm the final boss.
It's our fault that those men escaped. It's our responsibility. Please let the lower enlisted men go home. The Mexican military was so impressed by this that they decided to spare everyone, including Cassius Clay.
Holy crap, they respected his aura. That was literally max charisma. He spoke his way out of that. He had a knife as body armor earlier. The plot armor is insane. Wow.
And he would return home a war hero. Returning home from the war in 1848, he didn't really know what to do, so he starts giving his famous speeches again, this time leveraging his newfound title as a war hero. So obviously it doesn't take long for him to piss everybody off. He faces yet another assassination attempt. This time 6 brothers from a wealthy slave-owning family.
This is crazy. They like have an entire assassin organization going after him. And then he keeps defeating them over and over again.
Family show up, the Turner brothers. They show up with clubs and knives and guns, and they...
That's it? No bazookas? No holy hand grenades? Easy. Light work, no reaction.
Beat the living shit out of Cassius Clay with the clubs. They stabbed him multiple times. Cassius Clay whips out his trusted Bowie knife, starts opening up these brothers like they're fucking Amazon packages, making his way to the lead brother and stabbing him an excessive amount of times. We don't know how many times, but we do know it was a lifetime supply. Killing the lead brother, ending the assassination attempt, Cassius Clay would fall to the ground, nearly dead, and this would be the closest anybody ever came to actually killing Cassius Clay. When he
Dude. He's dealing with this all the time, and I'm too scared to go to the grocery store and not use self-checkout.
was asked about it later on in life, all he said was, I felt the utmost indignation, which translates to, I was fucking annoyed. This man almost died from an assassination attempt, and he has the same attitude towards it that I have towards fucking fruit flies, okay? This dude is so metal, he deserves his own spot on the periodic table of elements. Cassius Clay then makes a full recovery from his injuries, starts giving his speeches again. 1853, he donates a large chunk of his land to John Fee, who uses it to found Berea College, the first co-educational and multiracial college in the South ever. Fast forward to 1860, Cassius Clay is giving speeches in Illinois where he meets a politician by the name of Abraham Lincoln.
What? I know
and they
that
get
guy!
along great. Cassius Clay is then slotted to become Abraham Lincoln's vice president. However, he's a little bit too Cassius Clay to be
the sponsors ain't gonna like this, sorry man.
an actual big-name politician like that, so they give the job to Hannibal Hamlin, and Cassius Clay becomes the ambassador to Russia. 1861 rolls around, the Civil War breaks out, Cassius Clay is in Russia. Cassius Clay not only convinces Russia to not side with the Confederates, but he convinces Russia to tell Great Britain and France that if they so much as recognize the Confederacy, Russia will go to war with them. And this was a humongous step that nobody talks about.
Dude, Russia was like his Pokemon? And he got away with that max charisma again? Holy crap.
In the winning of the Civil War. And it is 100% because of Cassius Clay. Fast forward to 1862, Abraham Lincoln wants to appoint Clay a major general in the Union Army. Cassius Clay publicly refuses the President of the United States, saying that he's not going to do it until the President signs the Emancipation Proclamation.
What? Dude, he was a part of that? Holy crap, how is this the side character I never knew was the main character that I never learned about in school at all? Actually, I probably would have just been playing Mario Kart. I should have paid attention.
Freeing the slaves of the South. Cassius Clay is literally the man that bullied Abraham Lincoln into prematurely signing the Emancipation Proclamation before he wanted to. And nobody talks about it.
Yeah, wait, I always just knew that it was Abraham Lincoln. I didn't know that there was another guy.
Fast forward again to 1865, the Union wins the Great American Scrimmage, the slaves are freed. Cassius Clay has achieved his lifelong goal at the age of 55, bringing an end to slavery in the United States of America. He then goes back to Russia again to serve as ambassador until 1869, and while he is there, he helps to broker the purchase of Alaska. This man is probably the most influential person in American history that you've never heard of. After returning home from Russia, Cassius Clay would live out the rest of his days in Whitehall until the age of 80 years old, where he would be declared clinically insane.
Dude, 80 is kind of a good run back then. Like, let's be honest. Like, that's late game build.
In hindsight, most likely due to a severe amount of PTSD, as well as potentially dementia.
Dude, be honest, like, that's gotta do something to, like, your mental. If you're constantly being, like, under the watch of assassins and, like, having to watch your back and, like, you know that you're old and, like, at any moment somebody could come and stab you.
He didn't die from it. He lived on for quite a bit longer. He just picked up a new hobby of fucking with the local sheriff because he was crazy now. Over the course of the next decade, Clay and the sheriff would have multiple run-ins that—
Dude, I wish they had body cams back then because I gotta know what he's doing to the sheriff's department. He probably TPing, throwing eggs, I gotta know.
would be concluded when the sheriff and 7 deputies were repelled from Whitehall when Clay utilized his home defense cannon that he had at the top of his stairwell. At that point, the local sheriff would inform the local judge he will not be returning to Whitehall to tangle with Cassius Clay anymore unless the judge was willing to dispatch an entire company of the local militia to accommodate him.
For an 80-year-old man is insane.
Then in 1900, 2 men would break into Whitehall, and Cassius Clay at the age of 89 would manage to kill both of them.
What? 89? He's still top fragging? Dude, what the hell?
One by gunshot, and one, yet again, with his trusted Bowie knife. Then in 1903, at—
Wait, he still has the same knife? That's kind of cute. But I mean, not the death, but you know what I mean.
the age of 92, Cassius—
92? He's still going? The old-timer?
Clay would—
I mean, I guess old-timer, that too.
die of natural causes, or as they called it back then, general exhaustion, which is the most gangster way on the planet to go out.
Yeah, like, he literally just ran out. He just ran out of energy. It's not like anything crazy happened.
Literally just, I'm tired now.
Yeah.
Peace. And then he left.
I'm pretty tired. Think I'll go home now.
I've never seen this movie. Should we watch it in Discord? I've actually never seen this.
In conclusion, when it comes to famous historical household names, there's always another man or woman lurking behind the scenes in the shadows that's deemed too rough around the edges to be in the spotlight, yet they contribute just as much, if not more, to the movement.
Dude, why do I learn about so many, like, crazy cool people through this channel? Like, didn't we just watch the video about KFC? Like, I didn't know the KFC guy was even a real guy.
These men and women are willing to do horrific things for terrific reasons. And when it came to Abraham Lincoln and the abolition of slavery, that man's name was Cassius Marcellus Clay.
Whoa! I didn't know he would have that cut.
Most gangster politician in American history. Thanks for watching the video. Best way to support the channel is go buy some merch at thefatelectrician.com. Quack bang, out.
Whoa. Dude, that was such a good pacing of the video, too. I know this is gonna sound so dumb, but, like, at no point did I check out. I was paying attention the entire time. It was so well said. Everything was, like, fast enough to where I didn't have to watch on 2x speed, because I'll be honest with you, I watch pretty much every video outside of stream on 2x speed. I have a really low attention span. Oh. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I super appreciate it. That was such an interesting story. Thank you for suggesting it. I know somebody came by the Twitch stream. They told me to check it out, and that was freaking awesome. Please check out the original. And if you're new here, come by the Twitch stream, twitch.tv/BerryCrepe. Or you can use code Berry for 10% off your GamerStop order. You totally don't have to, but I would super appreciate it. Have a great evening. Goodbye, YouTube. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. That was a cool video.